Good evening, everybody. How's everyone? How's the pizza? Delicious. All right. So we're eating tonight. I just want to welcome everybody to the training today. We have participants on the Zoom line. That's why we're taking into the line. Based on previous trainings, it was suggested that people speak so that our sound system can capture it when we're recording on Zoom. We'll be able to upload the video of this training in case you know of neighbors who were able to attend. They will be able to check out the material, and we have additional printed copies for it as well. So my name, you all know me, I'm Margaret. You guys also know I'm a principal community planner. A little over a month into the position. And so my role is, in addition to oversee the neighborhood initiatives, environmental services committee, to also play a role in managing the implementation of the general plan policies related to environmental justice. 77 policies, everyone. So we'll be able to touch a little bit about that later on the agenda. But I did want to introduce my rockstar team. We have here to my left, Frank Bejarano, our other rock star, Alyssa Ventura. So we just really appreciate everybody taking their time. And Alyssa, anything in response on this?
Not yet.
Okay. All right, so we will proceed. We have a lot of information, but it's fun information because it's information that you're so passionate about. Your meetings, special events, cleanups, running all the communities. So we want to be able to talk a little bit on that. We will have our focus on the environmental justice. So the restrooms are out here, housekeeping, right? We have some restrooms out here and across the way from the hall. Please, if you continue to be hungry, help yourself for pizza. There's water. Let's go up to our water pizza. Always come in and so you whenever you have these special events. Please know we are a resource for your events. They can help set up and have information available. Okay, so we are ready for the ground rules.
Yeah. Hey everyone. So as Margarita mentioned, the restrooms are just out to the side of the left. But a couple of ground rules. We do want to end on time. So at 8 p.m. I know we started a little bit late. But please silence your mobile phones, put them on vibrate, as well as participate fully and share your insights. So we're here to hear from you as well, and for you to learn from other resident leaders within Santa Ana. So please share as much as you can what you've learned and engage with us and everyone here. Be supportive, not judgmental, listen to what others are sharing. Don't interrupt speakers. If you need to say something, raise your hand, and focus on being solution oriented. So that's kind of our slogan in IAS. So we want to mention that. And so we'll be moderating and facilitating in case we get sidetracked. So yeah, thank you.
You all, as you walked in, to receive an agenda or got an agenda from the table. If you don't have an agenda, please raise your hand and we will make sure you get one. But you can see the agenda on both screens here. We're going to start with our welcome, introduction, ground rules. We're going to go through an icebreaker activity very shortly. Our planning division team to share a few words and touch on such an ordinance, general plan implementation. And then we'll cover planning a neighborhood meeting, neighborhood cleanups, special events planning, reporting environmental problems, quiz. So please make sure to take notes. There will be a quiz. This won't be a pop quiz, so letting you know from the beginning. We are gonna do a recap of our program and transition, and then we'll have time for questions, Q&A time. So if you do have a question during one of the topics that we're discussing this evening, feel free to write it down and then we'll get to it during that time. And then we'll do a quick reflection and a takeaway, and then we'll close off with our opportunity drawing. So our activity to open up, I'm going to ask the two people that are right next to each other to take 1 minute, share your name, essentially introduce yourself, which neighborhood you're joining us from, how many years have you lived in that neighborhood, and one interesting fact about yourself. Then at the end, after a couple minutes, we're going to get back to the group, and you're going to introduce that person to the rest of the review. All right? You good? ¿Sí entendieron? ¿Lo tengo que repetir en español también? Sí. Ok. Entonces, los dos que están sentadas al lado de usted, introduzcanse, su nombre, en qué vecindario viven, cuántos años han vivido en el vecindario. Y una cosa interesante de usted, y vamos de usted a
Oh, it might have raised it accidentally. Oh, you raised it again. Allow her. Oh, yeah. Hi, Irene. Did you have a question for us? Hello, Irene, can you hear us?
Yes, I wasn't able to chat or unmute my speaker. Thank you.
Okay.
My comment just was that it sounds very faint. I can see the presentation, so I can follow along in case it's not able to be, the speaker not able to be louder.
just double check.
Or maybe if you just put the laptop closer to where the speaker person is.
All right. Oh,
Thank you.
yeah.
It could be like, maybe we can divide every year.
Like stand here instead. Yeah.
Oh,
You have to do it like permission for me. Adoptions, you see it's okay. Adoptions on.
yeah, I love in the sauce, but that's more like that.
That's what I thought it was gonna be this, that, right? That Janelle.
Okay.
That she wants to.
All right. We're gonna do it in 1 minute. 1 minute.
It was working when yeah, so Frank, earlier, like when I was talking, you know how you could see the little, yeah, and now it's not.
Choose.
You wanna like unplug it and plug it back in?
It's like
Oh, it's
yeah, maybe I'll just. Hold on, there is a microphone. Hear that?
Test, test. Test.
Lion Street por más de 20 años. Y mi compañera Verónica, igual también vive en esa área. Lo interesante de Verónica es que es una madre que gusta mucho involucrarse en la comunidad como madre líder y aprender cada vez más de lo que está pasando en nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Verónica García, es mi compañera Catalina Iniesta. Nos conocemos por más de 15 años en el área de Lion Street también. Y lo interesante de esta bella dama es que es una mujer muy comprometida con la comunidad. El idioma no ha sido una barrera para nosotros para podernos involucrar y poner nuestro granito de arena y contribuir junto con ustedes. Y estamos siempre abiertas para aprender de ustedes y de toda nuestra comunidad para seguir sirviéndole a ella. Gracias.
I have the pleasure of introducing Dale Bennett. Dale lives in our Santiago neighborhood. And like me, the first time when he's been in there since 1990. The first number of years, both he and I didn't get involved at all, but there were always issues with putting in. In his case, of voting for people. He didn't like voting for folks he didn't know what they did. So that's the guy that he became informed. But one thing he did, he didn't say to me, but I was very happy. And I did my little bit on it. He really led the charge against 25-8. That really got stopped because what he did, and you got 16,000 signatures to put it on the ballot, which had changed everything's mind, which is great.
To my left is Carl Benninger, resident of Metro Classic, been down there since 1979. He's been involved in many Santa Ana events as far as supporting, whether it's at city council or commissions or whatever. He's very active now, even though maybe the first few years that he was a resident, he took a leave of absence as an explaining that he's now involved. Outside of the time that, as you can tell, big Michigan fan. So he's waiting for the ratings to come out there. I am Michigan at #1. So.
Hi, everybody. I have the pleasure of speaking to Felipe. Has been in the Santa Ana neighborhood, really the neighborhood for 2016. I've lived in that neighborhood this whole life. I just want to say what a pleasure it was to sit and talk with you and catch up on. You're quite a wonderful community. Thank you for being here.
My name is Rick Rivero, president of the Santa Ana Neighborhood Association. Been here since 1963. Started the neighborhood association in 2016. And of course, my way is Kelly with Charlotte Winchell for Orange County and Chief Host. Okay.
Well, it seems like everybody knows each other, so it's easier for you guys to do it. But I spoke with Joanna Peterson, which was very kind on helping me out with my notes. I see you guys are taking notes. Joanna Peterson has been at Casa Candao for 30 years. She's the president of the association. And a fun fact about her would be, and she goes by this, is if you ask her to do something, she will follow through with it.
Well, I made a new best friend today. This is Beth Fuentes, and she's been in her community of Lowell for about 5 years. And what's unique about her is she came to the city and loves it, that she's been taking classes so that she can learn more of how the city works, and she's going to apply that to her neighborhood. So I have 25 years over you, girl. Catch up.
I have the pleasure of introducing Beverly Martin. She's been with the Santa Ana PD less than 2 years. And 5 years. And she is the person that you'll be talking to for street permits.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Beverly Martin. I work for the Santa Ana Police Department in the special events permitting section. I got the honor to speak to Terry, who's been a resident of different parts of Santa Ana for about 6 years, correct? 16 years, I'm sorry. And currently he lives on Bristol and Montgomery. And what was the name? Casa de Santiago. And here's Elena.
You were not prepared for this. This is Lee Keon. She's the new special events supervisor. People in our first team has lots of industry knowledge on special events and the inner workings of it. She's joining us from Dana Point as a new supervisor with us. This is Elena Martinez, Senior Special Events Coordinator. We are part of the team that helps with special events planning, so we are here to discuss that tonight.
So we had someone show up just now. We can have her introduce herself, and then we'll have our folks on Zoom introduce themselves. Thank you, Margarita. Do I have to dance or do something special? Hi, everyone. So sorry for being late. It was hard for me to find this building. It has been a long time since I was at Santa Ana College. Wow, has it changed for the better. So my name is Maria Acevedo. I'm the co-leader. I don't like to call myself president because that's such a heavy title of Windsor Village. And I don't see the other leader for Windsor Village North, but we typically host the same meetings. So Windsor Village is right off of Edinger and Fairview, from Edinger to McFadden, and Fairview all the way up to the riverbed. So we're right across from Centennial. So my family and I have been in that home for 15 years now, and I thought I wasn't going to stay here that long, but we love it. We have a great community, and I've been working closely with Margarita, and there used to be another leader, Chris Schmidt, that used to run our neighborhood meetings. So I don't got to hear from there to here, but it's a pleasure to be here, and hopefully we'll get to learn a lot of things from the city. Thank you, Margarita. Lisa, do you want to our Zoom?
Yeah. Irene, if you can hear us, if you can introduce yourself. Let me see if Councilmember Lopez, if you're available, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I wasn't able to unmute myself earlier to your earlier question, but thank you everyone for being here. I think like staff and like all of you, I wish the room was full, but I'm here to learn more about the new updates, the meeting resources, and any special events that the neighborhoods are having. And I'm sorry for all of the background noise. Mason is pretending to be a T-Rex tonight. So thank you. Have a good meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Rose. How about Irene from Willard?
Pastor Durley joined.
Irene, would you like to unmute yourself?
She might not be available. She was driving her mom to the airport. Yeah.
How about Pastor Durley? Pastor Durley, if you would like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself briefly.
About that. Yes, hello. I'm multitasking. I'm doing a grief share right now. So I'm listening in with one ear and listening in with the other to the other stuff. So it's great to be here. Thank you so much for letting me be here. So if you can mute me back, I would appreciate it. I'll be done with plan A in a little bit.
Thank you, Pastor Rudy. Okay, so we are going to segue. Yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ricardo, principal planner with the city of Santa Ana. To my right is Ali Kashpour. He's the city planning manager. We've been employed with the city for nearly 12 years. And one interesting fact about Ali is that he traveled to all the continents on Earth except Antarctica. Thank you, and I have the honor of introducing Ricardo Soto. He's been with the city for almost 9 years. He's our principal planner for the advanced planning section that oversees the general plan and its implementation. And one interesting fact about Ricardo is that he's climbed Mount Whitney, the tallest mountain in the contiguous United States, 3 times.
Great facts, everyone. Frank, did you have anything else to close this part? All right. So we just wanted to cover a little bit about the purpose of this training. Why is it important that we're here today and we're offering these updates? And part of it is, as mentioned before, there's a new responsibility that our office has with environmental justice. There are implementation actions policies that are, part of what our team will be doing. And so the rollout of the toolkit, the resources, information is really to help empower neighborhood leaders when you can bring others on board as we start the planning for 2020-13. Some of you already have standard events, a meeting schedule, and so we want to work with you to get all of that completed earlier than later so that we have a clear idea about what the schedule looks like in terms of all of the activities that our neighborhoods will be having. We also want to clarify the support that you can receive from our office. So we call it as a nickname, the NICE staff, the Neighborhood Initiatives and Environmental Services. That could be a little bit long when you're pronouncing it. So you can consider us the NICE staff or the NICE team. We like either or, but more than anything, this is a transition time. And so it's great that we have this opportunity and we'll continue to have these opportunities moving forward. And we also want to share some stories that we've had kind of address environmental justice issues in our neighborhoods. And so Frank and Alyssa will be able to highlight some of that later on the agenda. So now we have our special guests who already shared some interesting facts, but they're here to highlight some other important opportunities for community engagement in the planning division. So I will turn it over to Ali Possession for our planning manager.
Thanks, Margarita. Thanks for having me here tonight. I've been in the role now for about 3 weeks. As we said earlier, I've been with the city for almost 12 years. I have one of the distinctions of holding almost every position, starting as an intern, and just kind of working my way up over the years and really getting to know the community and getting to know basically all the different sort of individuals and groups that are involved in some of the day-to-day decision-making that goes on in our division. But I'm really excited to get to know this group and also the department and city more in depth over the coming years. One of the things I want to highlight for the group tonight that's really fundamental to neighborhood initiatives and the concept of environmental justice is Santa Ana Sunshine Ordinance. For those who might be familiar and those who may not be, I want to take a moment to highlight the city is one of the few in the county that has what's called the Sunshine Ordinance, which requires public access to certain information early on in certain stages. When it comes to the field of planning and development, what that means for Santa Ana is that in this city, when developers submit a project that meets certain criteria for like size and number of units or other thresholds, the developer is obligated to meet with the community within 20 days of submitting that project. They give community members an opportunity to have a face-to-face directly with that developer. This has been on the books, I believe, since about 2012, 2013. But one of the highlights I wanted to share with the group tonight is that it was recently updated in December and January of last year to require now more community meetings. So now 2 community meetings, and to increase the radius of notification that people would get to be afforded that opportunity to attend a meeting. And at these meetings, what happens is the developer provides a presentation of the proposed project and then answers questions directly from residents, including owners and renters, and even business owners and tenants, all within that area, and get that sort of opportunity to direct on the ground anecdotal information from the community directly to the developer. So it provides that face-to-face opportunity that, again, in many other cities does not really happen at all. if not until at the very end of a project phase when it's right before a city council or a planning commission. So I wanted to get the word out tonight about that update about now requiring 2 meetings with the community, and also the fact that the city and through the leadership of city council has expanded that notification radius from 500 to 1,000 feet to give more people an opportunity, an extra opportunity to have that sort of direct face-to-face with the developer that's proposing something in their neighborhood. Now, after these meetings are completed, what happens is that the developer that's hosting that meeting has to provide certain information back to the city that then we post online for everyone to be able to review and have access to. And that information includes things as basic like sign-in sheet, but also in depth as like a transcript of the meeting and the questions and answers that took place, as well as a copy of the presentation and other relevant materials like photos from the meeting. What you're looking at tonight on this slide is an image from the second Sunshine meeting that happened for the big related Bristol project that proposed down on South Bristol Street at Sunflower and MacArthur. So this is an example of a second meeting that was held to allow more people to come in and share their thoughts and ask questions, but also provide updates back to the audience and say, hey, here's what we heard from you the first time. Now here's how we're trying to close that loop and answer your questions through this second meeting. So it's a really important part of the process of reviewing projects and developments in the city of Santa Ana. I'm very proud to work for a city that has the opportunity in this that to get that early access to information. But it's not successful unless people really know about what its purpose is and how they can be part of that process. So just wanted to share that with the team and also make myself available after the meeting, or I'll leave this part as well if we're not able to connect. So just in case you ever have any questions about, what is the purpose of this meeting, how can we be notified, how do we guarantee that more people can attend and get access to information, and as well, we'll always have the neighborhood initiatives and environmental services. Nice to rely on as well for that. So thanks for your time. Again, I'm happy to answer any questions about the presentation.
Thanks, Ali. Just going to share a little bit tonight about the general plan update that was recently adopted a few months ago. The general plan is a city blueprint for development for the next 20+ years. The plan was developed over the course of about 7+ years. I see some faces in the room tonight that were part of the process of updating that document. So it's good that you're continuing to be involved in the community, different projects going on. So you have in the package you received tonight, you should have a handout as part of that package that looks like this. It's a section of the introduction of the general plan. And in that intro, it covers the framework of the general plan, how it's organized, as well as a description for each of the elements that comprise the plan itself. And each of those elements has a list of implementation actions that the city has agreed to undertake over the course of the next 5 years to make progress toward realizing the goals and vision that was established in that plan. It's important to remember that just because the plan was adopted and it was finished, that doesn't mean the work is done. I like to think of it as now that the plan has been adopted, it's pretty much the start. It's the start of taking on all the actions that we agreed that we're going to take on as a city and as a community, and how to actually actualize the vision of the goals that we established for ourselves over the next 5 years and into the future over the next 20 years. So like Margarita mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, her team is tasked with implementing, I think it's 70+ actions that are directly related to environmental justice that are in the plan. The plan itself has over 370 actions total. So with their team, they having kind of like a specific part of that plan, and the rest of the planning section, along with the other divisions of the city, are going to be taking on a host of other projects that are going to have hopefully a positive impact on the quality of life in the city. So I would encourage you all is to continue to participate, continue to be involved in those planning projects, to make sure that we as a city, working together with community members, establish programs and actions that actually are addressing the community needs and resulting in a higher quality of life for residents here. Thank you.
How's everyone doing so far? How's the information helpful? Okay. Thank you to our planning division guests joining us today. I just wanted to cover a little bit of history. Some of you have been involved with the city's neighborhood improvement program, which is the original naming of the program, almost 40 years. I'm sure some people have been for the last 30 to 40 years. So as we were digging into the paper files about the program, we learned that we started, the neighborhood improvement program was formed in 1983. And back then, the housing division was in the planning agency. So it's really interesting that that was where we started. But the program actually moved to different departments. At one point, it was connected to code enforcement. We had staff working directly with public works. And then in 1996, there was a reorganization where we had the 3 community development district areas. So some of you remember Rudy Candelario, Oscar Scott Kuttner. And so that was sort of part of that later, formation of the reorganization that took place in 1996. And then I highlight 2007 because that's when I started in the city over 15 years ago. And so when I started there, we were still under community development agents. Our staffing was 11 at the time. So there were 3 district managers that we had our staff. We had 2 support staff. And so, what happened in 2008, the Great Recession, right? We had an economic downturn, the burst of the housing bubble, right? That really affected a lot of families here in Santa Ana. And that affected the way our budgets, were programmed after the fact. There was a lot of scaling back, and it was not just in one agency, it was across the board. So we saw our staffing change. So we had 1 less district manager, we had a staffing of 5 to kind of sustain the program. And when neighborhood improvement first started, we had 10 neighborhoods that were receiving support. By the time the reorganization happened in 96, we had 52 neighborhoods. Right now we have 64. And so it's really great how the growth of the neighborhoods has been organic. And so I say this because in 2015, our program moved back to planning. So we were part of the community development. So we were part of the planning division, and we still are. And part of that was just the mental relationship that we have with early outreach and planning projects, the general plan, the outreach that was started around that time. So now the transition, now that we have our council that adopted the general plan update, we have the neighborhood initiatives and environmental services program, and we have a staffing of 4. So Christian Arevalo, our senior office assistant, he was not able to be here tonight, but he just came on board last month. And so we have that, we have Frank, Melissa, and myself. So that's again part of the reason why we're having this training, just to go over expectations and just the different levels of support and the toolkit that we want to provide to you. On the next slide, you have this image of the environmental justice boundaries, right, with the neighborhoods overlay map. I know this can pull it up right now. So, this is something that I know that the neighborhood association boundaries is something that resonates with all of you because we have all the 64 neighborhoods. But we also have areas that are called disadvantaged areas that the state has used the methodology. There's different variables that they factored in that tell us that these areas are more vulnerable to environmental impacts when it comes to air quality, asthma rates, other socioeconomic factors. And so this is what it looks like. And either all 33 or part of 33 touch across the census tract that you see marked as a darker color. That's the overlay. So 33 of our 64 neighborhoods are within these census tract areas that are considered disadvantaged communities.
And so what that means is with the general plan update, we have the 77 policies that are responding to more improvements, more investments in these areas so that we have a better quality of life for everyone in terms of environmentally, we have better air, soil, all the coordination that needs to happen, testing, all of that to be focused on these environmental justice areas that are more prone to that risk. So this matter is going to be very important because we will be engaging with you in addition to your events and activities, some of the policies that are underway. So I just wanted to leave you with that. If we can continue.
Yes.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the folks who are on the Zoom or getting information. We are going to make this available and upload it on the city's YouTube channel for reference. So now the fun stuff.
Okay. All right. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to go over planning for a neighborhood meeting. So a lot of you guys are familiar with like the steps it takes to plan a meeting. So first steps, of course, is like drafting a meeting agenda. But before you even get there, neighborhoods get together, right? Because the problem raises in the neighborhood. So you guys trying to come up with a solution. So of course, creating a neighborhood meeting, getting residents together, right? Helps. So the first would be drafting a meeting agenda. What kind of speakers you want to have, selecting a date, time, and location is really important, of course. And then allowing yourself to have time to reach out to presenters and to confirm their participation. Of course, we've assisted with that, and then as well as reserving facility space. So we'll actually share, and you'll have it in your packet, a list of facilities that are actually available, city facilities. But yeah, we'll get to that. And yeah, so when you have an idea, have a meeting agenda prepared, you have the space, date, time, of course, creating the meeting flyer is important to share that information. Our office has helped with creating flyers and creating copies, sending out a mailer. A lot of you guys get our email notifications, so that is how we get the information out. We ask that you allow 2 weeks for the meeting flyers to be printed out when we send out the mailers. So that's what we're asking. And in total, it should take about 3 to 4 weeks to plan a meeting. So definitely planning accordingly to let your guests, have enough time to participate in your meeting. Meeting location and room setup. So I know a lot of you select meeting spaces within your neighborhood, which helps with participation, especially in like a centralized location. Definitely have in mind like an idea of how many you expect to attend. I know we don't always know, but just anticipating. So definitely that. The room setup, as you can see some images. So we recommend a circular type of formation if you want to create like space for participation. Like this layout, if you lay out, you're able to see everyone here. When you say something, other people can engage with you. So definitely avoid the traditional layout with everyone just facing forward. Unless you just want to provide information and you don't want engagement, then that's fine. But yeah, definitely recommend that. As well as when you prepare or you plan your meeting space, will you need a projector? Will you need a speaker, speaker microphone, a screen, and then asking if they have chairs and tables available, especially when you guys are reaching out to places, that will be helpful. And then how we started the meeting, setting ground rules. So we know that a lot of neighborhoods have hot topics. People get heated and it's like really, too hard topic. So definitely setting ground rules in the beginning to help. So we listed some examples that you guys can use, but definitely you guys set your own. And then whoever's facilitating, normally it's the resident leader that you guys, you're in charge, making sure that the topic is going on track. If it gets sidetracked, just let people know, like, hey, let's try to stay on topic. And yeah, so that's some ground rules and meeting goals. So definitely setting a goal, a clear goal of what you want to achieve after the meeting. I know some meetings are for informational purposes, but when it comes to like following up with like certain agencies, if you call PD because there's traffic concerns, following up is very important. A lot goes on at City Hall. Unless you guys are like calling us, we don't really know what's going on. So I think that's very important for you guys to, follow up with whatever speaker came to your meeting. So that's something that we recommend. And especially delegating tasks to board members. I know some neighborhood associations have more board members than others, but being comfortable to like delegate tasks and others to, help out in certain instances is helpful. So when it comes to meeting frequency, we've been asked, especially with new neighborhoods starting up, like how often should we meet? And that's totally to the discretion of the neighborhood. You guys can decide monthly, quarterly, or as needed. So that's up to you to decide. But again, meetings aren't always necessary. If you just want to share information, find another way to do it, like send an email message or a newsletter. That could be another way instead of like meeting. So try to engage residents, but don't burn them out. If you guys are meeting every month and you're not getting the participation that you're getting. Oh, and a new record tool that we wanted to share with you all. It's called canva.com. So some of you are familiar with it, but it's a free online tool. I actually created the steps on how to use the tool, and you have the worksheet in your packet. But basically, you can create an account for free. You can also design a flyer. We can, if you were not comfortable designing or like starting your own flyer, we can send you like a template. And all you'll have to do is change the date, the time, and the location, and your meeting agenda. So your neighborhood name would be on there, your contact information will be on there. And basically this lays out the steps of like how to edit the document, how to like save it as a PDF, and even send it to us so we can then share it on your behalf. Definitely a good tool to use, so we recommend that you guys use it too. And I'm free if you guys want like a tutorial on how to use it, just give me a call and I can definitely help you. Other meeting resources. So I'm not sure if a lot of you guys have checked out our neighborhood web pages. So we actually have a page that's labeled neighborhood meeting tools. So some of these handouts that are in your packet are online. But yeah, so like how to develop an agenda, meeting working agreements, discussion topics for meetings. I know we've gotten questions from neighborhood leaders. Okay, so what's like a topic that we can discuss, or if it's available. So we have some contacts from the city and other outside agencies. And then something that we had to discuss this season was guidelines for neighborhood meetings during political season. So some of you are not familiar, but if you want to familiarize yourself with that, a lot of information is online. And we also have a list of city facilities that you can reserve free of charge. So the handout is in the packet and it's online as well. And the link is listed up here. All right. So on to the next process. So a lot of you have done neighborhood cleanups, and some of you have already reserved them with us, but there is a new process. And of course, you guys all know that we have Republic Services now, State Waste Management. But yeah, so we have a new link where you can go online and reserve. Each neighborhood is allocated 5 dumpsters per fiscal year. So the fiscal year for us starts July 1st up until June 30th. So every year, each neighborhood is allocated 5 and they're free of charge. What we ask is for you to complete a form online and let us know the date, wires that you need, the no parking signs. Beverly here helps us with the no parking signs. Yeah. So there are requirements. So we ask that it's the neighborhood representative that requests the neighborhood dumpsters. Sometimes we get other residents and we direct them to the neighborhood leaders or neighborhood representatives, so you guys can discuss or coordinate what date you guys want to have the cleanup. So that's what we normally do. We ask that the address is within the neighborhood boundary and in Santa Ana, of course. And we also ask for a 3-week, you let us know 3 weeks in advance. So that allows us to give you the flyers, and it allows for public services to also, coordinate on their end to get you your dumpster. So after you submit on the form online, our staff member Christian will be the one that will be running the program. So he'll be calling you or emailing you and just clarifying what you submitted and asking how many flyers, no parking signs, and dumpsters you will require. And then at the end of the cleanup, we actually have received a few numbers from public services. Sometimes things happen, so they don't get delivered on time, but they don't get picked up on time. So these are some numbers that you guys can call so they can, assist. And had Father Margarito would answer the phone on Saturday, so we try to prevent that from happening. So thankfully they provided their contact information. And we'll email this to you when you reserve your dumpster. And then a lot of you are familiar with what's permitted and not permitted, and it's in the flyer that we give you. But making sure you monitor what's being done, and making sure items that are not permitted are being done. This is a service and it is free of charge, so we don't want to take advantage of that. So making sure that someone is monitoring it several times is what we ask. Yeah, so any questions? Or if anyone wants to share any experience, anyone who's reserved their dumpster?
We just recently did it in October, and we thought it was beautiful. The first one got there just in time. And we built 3 of them. And I really like to know, one thing would be kind of curious. I don't know if you guys get feedback on how much tonnage of junk is pulled out of our neighborhoods. I don't know why. Just like to know what we do a year as far as this program is.
That would be great to like have stats for neighborhood. Yeah, that'd be interesting. You can ask. Ruby?
Over the last 20 years, we get a lot of mattresses, is what I noticed out of the backyard and chairs. So there's a lot of people hiding mattresses and chairs. So we're very happy to see that. Old patio furniture too. Yeah. Also, too, I don't see a template on how you can help us with a newsletter of that presence. Have we looked into that?
Yeah, so actually using Canva, you can create like an outline of it. If you want, I can help you create like a template, and then you could add like wherever information you want on it. That's an option.
Just wanted to get an update. Is the city working with the Santa Ana to have school-based facilities for the neighborhood associations to meet at?
At the moment, I know that. Okay, Carl.
Want me to take that one?
Yeah. My question specifically for the city of Santa Ana is working with Santa Ana.
Right now, our city manager is doing a couple things. We're down to just the point of insurance. And so what she's doing is looking at what the charge would be to the city to get the insurance. She's against buying that because it is something that schools supposed to have on their own facilities. And for 30 years, we've used their facilities with no problems. So why suddenly now are they worried about damage? We did the attempt to the school, move their mandatory meeting time from between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m., 6 to 9 p.m. So they realized that with students being there for tutoring they really don't want adults around, and so they have agreed to allow us to meet from six until 9. So hopefully within the next week or two, the city manager will do what she told me she was going to do, and hopefully we get down to the bottom of it. However, if you have any problems, please let me know. Henninger neighborhood, I'm going to go with her over to the principal of Henninger School, because we have had success going through the principals correctly. The principals understand the need of the neighborhoods to meet. I wish the school did. So that's kind of where we are. And Ms. Lopez, if you're listening to us, please bring this up as a subject at the next meeting between the school board and Santa Ana. You know, I will be there to speak about it.
Thank you, Carl. Also, Carl, isn't it true that we're all dealing with the same issues of traffic around the school that are both affecting the residents in the neighborhood? So we should be aware of some of the changes that are going on, and that we need to working on the same issues. Like we had the street car, and it was essential that we had the meetings there at school, but they didn't want to meet with us. I thought that was really quite not effective for business in school. Talking about the street cars in the neighborhood.
Yeah, so yeah, Rosie, that's another topic, but that could be at another discussion. But yeah, thank you, Carl. Any other? Yes.
Getting back to the dance program, I noticed you said 5 for association, and in my travels, I have found out other associations have 6. Is there a reason why 1 is bigger? Because
we have 5 we do, and I'm sorry, Joanne, because we asked for them. I think you got to be aware that they'll tell you some neighborhoods don't use it, so you can ask for it.
No, I get that, but to give an example, I own a home with her neighbor, and their patient arts, and that was huge. To me, 5 doesn't seem very many in comparison to other associations that might be smaller. And again, my original question is why do some have 6 and some have 5?
Yeah, so since we do have 63 neighborhoods, we allot 5 to each. I think we have 300 dumpsters in total that they give us, but I know it's at the discretion. I know there's some emergencies that happen in the neighborhood, like someone's like hoarding and they need like an extra dumpster, but also just contacting us towards the end of the fiscal year to see if there's any left over. But yeah, I know Margarita can speak to that.
I think I was told that there's already a way to let you know that we are going to be in because our dumpsters in the last 2 times we've had them in the 90 days, they get filled up in 27 days.
Yeah, so it's a very popular program. Just so you know, in years prior, especially during the pandemic, we did not reach the 300. We probably got 200. So that's why there was more flexibility for neighborhood. We want to use that. Our goal is to get to the 300 this year. We've had a late start with starting the process, but the automated process just helps us with the more complete information you have. Christian is great. He can let you know so you can anticipate planning. And if there is 1 or 2 that's needed, that happens, and that's okay. But I think the standard is that we encourage each neighborhood to use up to 5. So I mean that's the goal. We just want to use the 300. I think we're looking at the bigger goal. We appreciate those of you who have already used it. For those who haven't, we encourage you, especially the Lion Street babies. Los de Lion Street, so queremos que hagan una limpieza de vecindario. Their neighborhood has been inactive, so I'm so glad that they are here because you can support them and they can take advantage of this much needed service. So thank you.
Any other questions? All right, so we're gonna have a break. So we'll have about 5-minute break because you guys need to go to the restroom, grab a drink, and then Frank will start next section.
I'll just think about that. 5 years. Oh, it's gonna be correct.
Quick once I went up there. Like the time, like we covered so much in a short period of time.
Yeah, because the sharing took a long time. Look, it says your screen share is loading. I don't know if it's. I doesn't see it. Right.
Yeah, it was like over 30 minutes. Yeah.
Also, online people online.
And I think Irene, that's early.
Someone else.
That's right.
Oh, Irene isn't on anymore. You're still on?
Okay.
Special events with Frames, and then environmental resources and Q&A. Oh, we're doing a quiz too. Quiz, and then the drawing.
I might head out like approach me right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Say that name. Hey. That's my concept notes here, and it says, yeah, I'm short. And I tell you, Trinidad streets. The director, but you're mad enough. It's about to come back, and this can be it's just like neat. Power, I want the power already. Tell me, my first medical, I want to like, but
Hope you all have to continue to enjoy some of the friends come back, where we can come back again in a minute. We still have quite an amount of pleasure. So now we're transition over to identifying tengo preguntas. Vamos a ver un evento. ¿Cuáles fueron los herramientas que usaron para caminar en ese evento? The question I have for you is, when was the last time you planned an event? And are there any plans that you're review? I'll choose two people. Those are ones that you don't compartir. Two people that I just want to share with you. When was the last time like you hosted an event? I see a lot of event planners in the back. Ruby.
Oh, whatever the last time. We're planning an event right now. Or we have, for the last 25 years, we've planned a Christmas facade. And this is the facade of Black Hill.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I think right now a meeting of the neighborhood leaders in the South area. I'm going to meet with the person who right now is talking to Seegers Firm about what they want to do with the village and the corner of Bristol and Sunblock. And I arranged for a place to meet with time and information.
So Ruby and Carl, with both of those events, do you all use any tools or any type of format in which you capture all of these notes so they're not just like living in your head, but you're like either writing them down, typing them up?
Well, actually, Margarita has said source. You guys have been a great source for me, getting names and email addresses of all the neighborhoods. And that I'll keep on file. You've been a great source for this.
I've been writing everything down because I am not an Excel person, but now I've had an answer to how we writing things down. But I've had a template of our events and who we've been dealing and also with donors. And also I always keep up with I did council person very effective in helping us put these plans together. And getting to know your local businesses, city council person, and the schools.
There you go. So I just want to very briefly mention that we have an event planning and a project planning tool in your toolkit. We will make this toolkit be available electronically or digitally, so you can go in there and fill it in. But if you need physical copies, we can also get those to you. You know, like Ruby said, that if you like to write things down, we'll make these available to you in simple format. Yeah. Yes, yes. And so now I'm going to defer my time to both Beverly and Elena. I believe Beverly is going to come up first, discuss her penalty department plan check, permitting process for your special event, and then we'll have Elena talk about product creation and community services.
So like Frank said, we'll be very brief with all of our events process. So basically, for me, I would say determine the type of event that you want to have. For example, you want to have a Christmas event, determine the time, date, possible location. Although I do find that obviously, when the neighborhoods want little trees, sometimes you want to use your home as part of your event, or sidewalk, like that. It continue as a special permit event. Usually first you have you complete an application, or if it's on a special event application or a land use certificate, you submit it to me for review, then I review it, and then usually I request a few other things, a permit for multi-day, usually insurance and site maps, where you're planning if at all, either vendors, canopies, things like that. A traffic control plan if it involves street closure. Signatures from all affected parties, which is everybody that's going to be affected by a street closure or your event. Usually we ask for 80% of the people in your neighborhood to accept the petition for your event. And then if you're having vendors and selling food, things like that, then we usually refer you over to OCO. So that's a brief overview of what line permit process is. And then here's Lana with her process.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elena. It's so nice to meet you. I am the event coordinator for the city of Santa Ana. I've been here probably since August. But I have a lot of experience, I swear. And I'm really happy to serve you guys in this community, and with something so important as special events bringing the community together. So first things first is permitting, right? Can't have a house party without a house. So this is to ensure that you guys are going to have a place and a plan to have a safe, unifying special event, right? So I love that I have some plans in motion. Make sure we get an application in as soon as possible. Preferably 45 business prior to the event. So you can always reach out to us via email or phone call. And sometimes Margarita and Greg actually have the special event application with them. So once you get that, fill everything out, including a signature. If you have any questions on the application, we're more than happy to help. Once that's filled out, we do need a site map. So a site map indicates your vendors, your exhibitors, where your DJ is going, where you're going to have your food, and this is so we can review that it's safely going to happen. Sometimes people request like food trucks on the ground, and that's not always a great idea. So sometimes we expect on there. So these are kind of the things that we look out for when we review your site map. So we can show you the realistic possibilities and the safety features of your event. Next, we can send it into us. Either my staff or myself will be assisting you along in the process. So you'll always have that point person to defer to whenever you need help or whenever the next step is in process. So second thing we will need is a event participant list. So this is to ensure that we know who's coming to your special event. If it's food, if it's a nonprofit organization, if it's someone that's doing a craft, you guys are basically anything like that, that's something that we need to know. So we can have that in order. So you know that there is an ordinance where we do need to have your participants have standing of business licenses. It's not my rule, but I do have to enforce them. So just to make sure that they're all in process. And if they don't have one, they can always obtain one during the duration of your event planning process. And that's something that Jessica Gonzalez from Business Tax can assist you with. Next, I call it step 2.5 because it's not always required, but sometimes what happens. Sometimes you'll need a walkthrough, not always. Depends on the size of the event or if you have any questions. You are in touch with event planning professionals. So if you ever need any assistance or guidance or advice, we can always do a walkthrough with you. We can help form everything. If you guys ever need contacts or anything, that's something that we can do during the walkthrough, or we can do a Zoom meeting if you guys want, and sometimes it's not always required. And then step 3 would be to complete external permit. So as Beverly mentioned, sometimes it's OCSA, it will sometimes it's OC Health as well. We have any sort of food vendor and planning and building for stages. So those are a little bit more tedious, and this is what's going to be a big bulk of your time. So this is something you want to work on right away. Just to make sure, these are outside agencies. Unfortunately, the city doesn't always have a hand in guiding you along. You want to make sure you start as soon as possible. And then last or fourth is insurance. Luckily, the insurance here for you guys is a lot easier than for someone getting an outside insurance. So you guys would just click over to that link and follow the steps provided. The important part is once you have your quote for insurance, you'll send it to the risk management division for Santa Ana, and then you'll see whoever was working with you. And then that's it, the city pays for your insurance. We have questions?
Yeah. Will the city be requiring the same thing you require to me for my event? For example, I was gonna use an 8-gallon gas generator. And you mentioned to me that I needed a contractor to come get a contractor, to be able to use it. But prior to that, there was a Juneteenth event. And there were not 8 gallons. There were a lot of 32-gallon generators. How come they were asked not for them, they were asking for me to have the contractor next?
For the city's internal Juneteenth event?
Yep.
Okay, so the city event planning does get our permits as well. So we do get our OCSA, that's generators will require OCSA, the training on the side, and planning and building, and the city also have to go through that same process.
But then, if people want to have an event out in the street, what type of, how are they going to get electricity? But they're also going to be, gonna require again a contractor to go get like to show a license for a generator.
It depends on the size of the generator. If it's a Winsburg generator, one of the smaller ones, OCSA and building will require. If it's something like larger, then it's going to require a couple permits.
Will the city be willing to allow residents, like, the stage people to, if they're close to a park or close to a center, would they be allowed to go visit it from the center?
From the center, that's something you would reach out to us, and then you can further discuss that. And that's from parks don't typically have electricity because their electricity is vandalized at parks, so that's something you really depend on. So you find on it. I would recommend if there's a community center nearby or there's a community center you'd like to use, that you reach out to us so we can make some sort of arrangement.
Another question. Are nonprofits and school districts required to have a business license to be able to participate in a resource fair?
Yes.
They are required. Nonprofits
and school, yes.
Okay. Is it gonna be the same for everybody, or just kind of make exceptions to? Because for the city, the team event, there were participants that I had on my list from my event a week later that were allowed to participate in the city's event and not in my event.
Yes, so it depends on the timeline, because from the time that they have participated with you and the business licensing, and they come with us, like I said, they don't have to have a business license up front, but as long as they start the process during your guys' planning, then that's okay.
Well, your event was perfect. They were allowed to be in your event. So mine was a week late. How come they were allowed to be at your event, not on my event?
Yes, unfortunately, I wasn't around for the Juneteenth event, so I don't know what.
You and I were communicating.
I was here in August, but I haven't been around since June.
Jessica?
No, I'm Elena. So Jessica Gonzalez is from your business app. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I would just want to ask that if there's going to be a requirement for free events, be equal, even if it's a free event. Because it's not fair that some residents get to be allowed to do certain things, and other residents, neighbors are not allowed.
Yeah, so Celica is bringing up the point of consistency, right? How the requirements are applied for neighborhoods, for neighborhood to neighborhood, city events. And so that's something that we're also following up, just to get clarification on the permit that needs to be issued to operate the generator, right, that the fire agency is asking for. That has become a point of contention, not just from you, Toka, but from others in terms of questions that are like, why I don't understand why now. And so we understand there's like a lot of changes now. And so we want to be able to get to the bottom of it too. So yes, that's something that actually Frank is also getting clarification from our building manager about that exactly.
Did you cover land use certificates? Was it one of the slides?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, question?
Yeah, so if there's a church that wants to have an event on church property, are they required to have a land use certificate?
Yes.
This is different when Bill McGovern was in that position where he would say, it's church day, church doing church thing, you know, it's your business. Whatever you do is whatever. Right now, with him leaving and the new staff, and it's a little confusing.
From what I've seen, I came into the position in June. From what I've seen, Bill used to land certificates for I've seen churches, I've seen like Latin, Latino Health Acta, when they Western Dental, when they want to do something on their parking lot, their area, I've seen land use certificates for everything. So I've just been going off of what Bill has been doing in the past. And I've seen a lot of land use certificates for church. Yeah.
You used to have access to the show. They're still around, they still see city functions, use them. The neighborhoods cannot, once they pay it, I got the amount of $2,500. There's one feedback I'd like you to take back to your bosses was the neighborhoods would like to have access again to the showmobiles at a reasonable price. Okay?
I'll take it back.
Because we're not out there to make a killing. We're not making a profit. It would really help because my neighborhood show movies on the side of the show. It was really great for blocking off the street and take that to folks.
Great. And so then lastly, step 5, your permit will be sent to you. Just make sure you review it to make sure the permit has the application and correct contact number. Hopefully for you guys, there's no feedback in the permit. And that's why you permit this.
Yes, a question. Go ahead.
Yes, hey, just trying to follow back up on, I think it was Marta made asked a question in regards to any events on the church ground. I need to have permits, or I do not have permits. I do not need to have these permits to have any, not an event, but say we are socializing with some special dinner. Does that need to have any type of permits?
Inside or outside?
Pastor, is the event inside or outside?
It would be on the outside in our parking lot.
Yes, she's saying that she believes that you do have to apply for a permit.
I do?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so if I have neighbors who may not know that, how can I communicate that to them? Because, you know, we're not the only one in the parking lot that will have some special event. We've seen like quinceañeras, maybe even some celebration. Is that falls under these same guidelines? If they're in the parking lot?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope there are slides available so I can pass it along to my neighbors, okay?
Yes, we'll make this presentation available to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Got a question. I guess I'm asking, why do we need permits for stuff that are being held on private property or neighborhood property? I don't understand it if there's not an impact to anybody else outside of the neighborhood. I understand if you want to have a street closure, getting permits and everything else, but if you're going from one house to another house on a progressive dinner, is that considered a permit required event? You're going from a private property, you're walking on the streets to another private property, and it sounds like it fits into the category of need permits for everything. And so is there a clear list of events or types of events that require permits? And is there a list of fees you can expect to pay during the permit process? You said the permit itself isn't required, but you had a lot of stuff up there that looked like they could generate fees for the event planners.
And we do have everything on our website, sir, on the City of San Ramon website. There is links, and we are more than willing to send all that over to you. And there's a list of street closures of if it's on public property, if it's on private property, if it's in a parking lot, if it's at a school, if it's at a park. Because it could be used in conjunction with it, where it's a school with a parking lot and then there's a street closure, or there's a procession or a parade, or a variation of things, right? So there's a list, and we do have a list of permit fees and all that too. And then anytime you have a question, whether something needs a permit, a land use certificate, we're more than willing and available to answer all your questions on specific things, right? Because there's an endless list of things that people try to get a permit for, and sometimes they do not need a permit.
That web address, can you provide that before we leave?
Sure, definitely.
How much is a land use certificate?
It's $40.
Okay, I think we're gonna.
You want to pick yours?
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
All right, it's me again. All right, so reporting environmental problems. So we're kind of excited to discuss, our new section with environmental services. So we created a flyer on how to report environmental problems. So there's a lot of outside agencies, state, county, federal agencies where you can report certification. So the flyer that we provided actually details certain, the agencies and when you report. So yeah, please take a look at that flyer. If you have any recommendations of an agency that you feel like should be added, please let me know. We also have an environmental resource feed online. So yeah, please definitely look at our pages. And on there, we have environmental news. We have that flyer on there. And then we also have detailed information of the different types of agencies, what they do, how to report certain issues to them. So yeah, so that's something that we want to share with you. And then some information that I found on the public health of LA County is how to report environmental issues. There's a area up in there on how to exactly the reports that you create and like how to report them to the agencies. So if you have the time, please review this. I think it's very important information, and I provided the link of the county, LA County. So it's just something that I wanted to share. And then this is something that I was really excited to create with the help of like staff and GIS team. But I did some research and I found that North Carolina actually for the whole state has facilities that require different permits from their agencies. For us, I've developed a map that has permits from agencies from HMD, LMPA, Department of Toxic Substances Control. So now it's available online if you want to see what type of agencies require what permits surrounding your neighborhood, surrounding their home. Definitely take a look. You can also see, if they have any violations as well. So this is some information that we wanted to share with you all. It's a great resource. We also have the layer of the disadvantaged communities too, which is what Margarita mentioned. So if your neighborhood is located within that area,
As you can see, we kind of see how a lot of industries, that have those permits are located in that area. So yeah, it's more information for you to kind of learn and share as well.
So now we're kind of an opportunity for you all to assess certain situations that are definitely real. So you can here in Santa Ana, and neighborhoods, and so the example itself is the environmental justice concern. So this is probably a show of hands, can you identify any specific concerns that you would have based on the image that you're seeing here? Rudy? Or do you have a camera?
Oh, that's a wrong issue. I didn't look up.
So just to give some context, this is a small recycling operation in a parking lot. Yes,
The thing that I'm totally familiar with, an operation similar to this, across from the historic fire station on Cypress and the east side here.
Okay.
But I imagine it generates a lot of traffic in this parking lot, and it's obviously changing some kind of land use.
You do need a line.
And it's always like liquid coming out of the cycle bottles in here.
Anybody else?
Pues el mal olor y las moscas.
Mal olor, moscas.
The computer is open, so whatever they there,
Okay.
I would ask whether it's a public property or private. This is city park, I had a problem.
Right, Saoirse? It's a public parking, and there's businesses, there is, it was just because they had toilets out there, they had a lot of homeless, with a lot of drinking going on around there. Even the guy that was running the place was out there drinking with the homeless, and really familiar with this. And this is the businesses that are close to school, and social services had their visitation right there in the building next to it. So that is the parking for the employees there. People trying to do visitation with their children there, going through the court system. Just the businesses around there, and the there, laundromat, next to a condominium complex. So just the sound quality, the smell, the noise for the environment for everybody that lives there, and close to school too, for the children and all that to be, a lot of parents are using that parking lot to be able to walk.
Thank you for this. Trisha has firsthand experience with this here.
Just quickly, what do you see here? What are you concerned here?
There's too many.
Too many? All right, so this is the aerial view. And I want everyone to pay full attention to the distance between the actual operation, the second operation to the residential home on both sides. So on one side you have like a single family house, and then you have an apartment complex on the opposite side. And it's 63 feet there. So yeah, some of you mentioned that there's noise pollution, there's smell, there's traffic debris, the proximity to the residential property line, of course, hours of operation. So in this case, Calvert Cycle has jurisdiction over the convenience zone, and our city code enforcement collaborates to ensure that they're abiding by
the land use certificate, right? So that they aren't, the city's municipal code says that there can only be one small collection center, essentially one container. And if you saw that in the image before, there were 4 containers, meaning that they're processing and just moving a higher amount of material to the neighborhood, right? And the impact, like Tricia said, the damage produces, the proximity to the school, and so after a number of resident complaints for both sides, we were able to have them, the operator essentially, we notified PowerCycle, and PowerCycle was also had given them a notice of violation for quite some time and was withholding payment. And so they pretty much essentially took back or rescinded their operations permits. So they're no longer at those places anymore. And so that was, I would say, like one of our first like EJ wins for our office. You know, with support of you as residents. So yeah, you know, it can definitely be done. Great. We're gonna transition off to the quiz. And so what we're gonna do really quickly, we're gonna have a QR code up on the screen. And if you have a phone, you can, we're gonna have 2 questions you can actually answer on your phone, the questions that we're gonna be sharing with you. So if you'd like to participate, scan the code, or you can actually go, either scan the code or you can type in lido.com. And then that's the number right there, the code. So if you have trouble, raise your hand, I can come by and what's this? You know? Okay, I think Carlos could just activate it.
Yeah.
Sure.
How do you have to show the results? Or do you have to end it and then it shows?
Or show results, yeah, show results.
Or does it stop it from people? Oh.
There you go. All right. You have more people from Artificial Pilar. All right. On to the next. So you actually just press green and then click on to the next one. This one. Go back or have results. So the next question is, how concerned are you about environmental impacts of air, land, and water in Diana? More seconds on that one.
Next one.
All right, on to the next one. So how many people currently work on our neighborhood initiatives and environmental services office?
Is that accurate? Or do they go on their own pace with the quizzes?
It's not working. We're getting this.
So the correct answer for that was, they're all right. All of them were perfect. I'll do it at home. So how far in advance did you submit your special event application? 30 days, 15 days, or 3 months? One year.
Did I select the correct one?
All right. On to the next slide. So which agency can you report air quality complaints to? Is it the Orange County Healthcare Agency, Orange County Fire Authority, the Department of Toxic Substance Control, or South Coast Air Quality Management District? All right.
Woohoo! Good job, everyone.
And at least how many weeks in advance do you reserve a roll-off pin for a neighborhood cleanup? 10 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks? It's 3 weeks. All right, so now you're out of order. So the next question is, which of the following areas will the 19 be supporting? Special event and meeting planning? All of the above, environmental issues and concerns, or general plan implementation?
Interesting how all the above was listed on
Really?
Yeah.
I think it's that's what the question is.
Was that the last one? It just says conversations. Okay, yeah.
All right. You know, that's our good. Thank you all for participating. There's a couple more slides that we're going to talk through real quick. We're going to have Margarita come up to do a recap for us.
Yes.
Great participation, everyone. Thank you so much. So yeah, to recap, there was a lot of information. We do appreciate the comments, the feedback that this team has. When it comes to adjusting, you know, the great work, the maps, how is it working for you? We are receptive to your comments, so we'll make adjustments. But we did want to leave off with you with just more resources that are available to you. You have our page, you have our contact information. We have some common board members here, Carl Benninger and Martha Rodriguez Ramirez here. They are available as a resource. And Felipe Guerrero, that's right, Felipe. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you at the common meeting because I haven't been there. Happy to hear you. So anyway, yeah, we have 3 common board members, very experienced. We have a former board member of Conley, Terry McCall, who's also very experienced and is a resource to work with you. We also, I think Alyssa alluded to this earlier, in some of your meetings, things can get very thorny, very confrontational, and it might be difficult for you to try to manage the meeting, especially if there's not a staff member there. But we have been in conversations with the Orange County Human Relations staff. They have a conflict resolution program. They have staff that can work with you. And so we're going to be having more discussions to see maybe these are some consults that could be made available, especially if there's changes in leadership, right, where people may not agree. That doesn't mean that you stop working together, but that you get help to try to manage through the situation. Lastly, the resources for neighborhoods page, please take advantage of that, and let's continue to have this conversation following this meeting as we check in with different neighborhoods. Thank you.
All right, so this is time for any questions that were lingering during our presentation. Any questions? Preguntas? Yeah.
Are you guys planning to add anything about the environment and the Maizara app, like what you have over here?
That is a great question. At this time, that's something I haven't really explored. It could be a possibility, but
We will follow up with it. Yeah.
Just to test it, see how.
Test it out.
Yeah.
That's a great suggestion.
anybody else?
Yeah, concerning the sunshine ordinance and everything, how is AB 2011 and Senate 6 going to affect sunshine within requirements?
Thanks, Dale. For those who might not be aware about what the question was about, there's a series of new state laws that have come out that go into effect in July of next year that allow developers to build housing and mixed-use developments on sites that are zoned for commercial uses. And in some cases do so without needing to go through a discretionary process, meaning that they don't have to seek approvals from the planning commission or the state council. In other cases, they would need to get those approvals depending on what is being built and which law the developer is seeking to sort of activate and use to their benefit. At this time, because the state law is going to effect in July 1st of next year, the state gave cities like Santa Ana time to sort of evaluate the impact of these laws on their local processes. So that is one area that was still exploring. If a project went through one of those processes that still did need planning commission or state council approval, then it would still be subject to the sunshine ordinance. In other cases, if it were not required to go through those ordinances, we're still evaluating, not required to go through those commissions or council, we're still evaluating how that would interface with the sunshine ordinance. As a matter of practice for the department, many times if a project is not by a letter subject to the sunshine ordinance, we still require the developer to hold a community meeting, but to ensure that the local neighborhood is aware of the project. We've done that for projects in various neighborhoods, especially on Harvard Boulevard, and it is practice that we intend to continue requiring, again, even if the letter of the law is not. So just stay tuned. That's a long story short. We're still evaluating it, but just as they go through both of those processes, it's not an automatic out for them. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Frank,
yes.
We have some people here that are part of the quad committee, so they were interested in the environmental justice reporting tools that we shared tonight. Yeah. I just wanted to acknowledge them.
Oh, please. Go out there. All right. So reflection and takeaways. Another I'll be very brief. If anyone wants to share any reflection or takeaways, I know that Ruby shared, what about the newsletters, right? So are there any other suggestions or any other areas of you know, training topics that you'd like to see in the future. Is there anything that might be of interest to you that you can share with us?
Leadership training, like our money in our neighborhood to hopefully that call people to come to the meeting. They didn't show up, but I would learn how to get that neighborhood speaker come. Because a lot of us need to learn how to be a leader in the neighborhood, how to address issues in the neighborhood. And I've been finding out that there's a lot of people who have a lot of skills that are very essential and no business in the community that can help out in the situation. I think that's done unless somebody in the community helps put it together.
Thank you. Yeah, we can definitely follow to does something for their anybody else? All right. Well, I'll keep it brief. Yeah. Thank you all. That's it for us. You got any questions? Feel free to come and talk with directly.
Oh, wait, the drawing.
Before we leave, there is the drawing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You know how I'm just started out.
Very genuine meeting. But the good parts for us from the public now and
which one should we do first?
Let's do Solomon first. All right. And we can do it on
She was online. She was online? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so this is Catherine from Republic Homes Neighborhood. She was on the Zoom with us, so we'll get back to Catherine. In and out, $25. Cinco dólares. In and out.